Welcome to another video. In this video, we will be hiking in Lagoon Valley Park in Vacaville and also talk about the CR1 visa process. That's something I have done, and so I'll be talking about that. So there are two parts to this process. The first one is the Department of Homeland Security process that reviews your petition when you petition for your spouse. And the second process is the National Visa Center process. It's the NVC process, and that's with the Department of State. It's a beautiful day out today, and wow. In the springtime, these hills look very, very green, very, very beautiful. It's just a beautiful sunny day out here on April 2nd, 2025. So in the first part of the process, you fill out a form called the I-130. It's a petition for your immediate relative. In my case, it was the petition for the wife. So either a permanent resident or a United States citizen can fill that form. And it depends. If you are a permanent resident, it can take a little bit longer to process, and the timelines for U.S. citizens are a little bit shorter. So if your spouse is residing in a foreign country, she will have to fill out a form called I-130A. That's the form that only gets filled out by the person that you petitioned. Please look into the sources. There are many online sources that tells you how to fill out the form I-130. Basically, it asks for like employment history, work history, where you've been living, etc., etc. And same thing for I-130A. The person that's being petitioned will also fill out the form, and they will also have to tell their work history, where they lived, all that stuff. The I-130, make sure that you submit all the documents supporting your marriage and stuff, and make sure the documents proof that it's a bona fide relationship. All the supporting documents, birth certificate, marriage certificate, all these important documents that you need to have needs to go with the I-130, and you have to attach all that stuff with the form. After you submit the I-130, you will get a notification saying that your form has been received. You will also get a letter that will tell you how you can make your online account. You will get a letter which is basically called a Notice of Action, I-797, and you will be able to track the progress of your case. I think there's a new construction going on right there. A fantastic, wonderful, beautiful day today to be hiking. If your case is strong and basically there are no problems in it and it's like a straightforward case, you may not receive a thing called a request for evidence. Basically, the USCIS is asking for information about your case. Like they require more documents or more photographs and whatever they are asking. After the petition is approved, the case goes to the NVC. It's called the National Visa Center, which is the Department of State. Once the case goes to the NVC, the person that you petitioned, it's called the applicant, then the applicant will fill out the form called DS-260, and they will upload all the supporting documents with the DS-260. All the required documents with the DS-260 are like birth certificate, marriage certificate, 2x2 photos, 2-inch by 2-inch photos, and I think those were it. Birth certificate, marriage certificate, 2x2 photos. You don't have to attach any marriage photos in the DS-260. but you should take that to the interview. And the petitioner who is residing in the U.S. or who has a domicile in the U.S. will fill out the affidavit of support. It's called the AOS. Once you submit all the documents, the NVC will review the affidavit of support, all the supporting documents that go with the affidavit of support, which I forgot to talk about. Those are like tax returns, W-2s if you have a business, 1099, all that stuff. So all the supporting documents with the affidavit of support, and then all the supporting documents with the DS-260, NVC will review it, and then they will call it document qualified. Basically, they have seen all your documents and they have documentarily qualified your case, and then they will submit it to the embassy or the consulate where the case is. So after you've been DQ'd, or after the applicant is DQ'd, you wait for the interview letter to come. How do you like the view? Once the interview letter is received, basically once the applicant receives the interview letter, they can go do biometrics, which is basically they'll go and get their fingerprints and their photo taken. And then they can also schedule for a medical appointment. Once you have done your biometrics and the medical, and then you have your interview scheduled, you will go to your interview. You will take the DS-260 confirmation page, the interview letter. Your medical stuff will be directly sent to the consulate or the embassy, and then let's see, I'm trying to remember, all that will be sent to the consulate, and that's pretty much it. And then you take all the original documents that you uploaded in the National Visa Center website. It's called the SEAC. You will take all that stuff to the interview as well. On the interview day, it could be it could be as easy as, who's calling you, where does your partner lives or your spouse lives, or they can ask you a lot of questions. In our case, it wasn't that long, and it only took about 5 minutes. From what I read on the internet sources is that the consular officers don't have a lot of time, so the interviews tend to be very short. But if they do see something wrong in the documents, they can also refuse you a visa and give you what's called a 221G, basically a refusal, where you have to correct the deficiency that they told you about. So if everything goes well at the interview, you will receive your visa. You will receive a letter basically at the consulate or the embassy saying that your visa is approved, and then either the applicant or the petitioner must pay what's called the immigrant visa fee. Basically, before, you don't have to pay the fee before you leave for the United States, but you have to pay the fee in order to get the permanent resident card. The whole process for us took about 18 months. It could be longer, it could be shorter, depending on circumstances, case by case basis. But in general, it takes about 1 year to 2 years. For us, it took 18 months. So in other words, I wasn't able to live with my spouse for about 18 months, although I did get to visit her back home. So the total fees, $535 for the I-130, and then you have to pay $325 for the DS-260, $120 for the affidavit of support, $235 for the immigrant visa fee. So put all that together, it should be between $1,000 to $2,000. Well, that's it, guys. That's the whole process from day one to you get with your spouse here. It's a long process, and this process is again called a consular process. It's only available for people, like if you marry somebody outside the country, not somebody in the U.S. That's a whole different process. If you marry somebody in the U.S. and it's a different process. So this is a consular process. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions, any kind of specific questions, feel free to ask me in the comments, and I'll try to help you as much as I can. That's it, and share this information with anyone that you might think will help them. And yeah, if you have any questions, again, just put it in the comments.